Hey everyone, ever wonder what makes the modern internet really, well, work? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on one of the most important pieces of technology on the entire planet, JavaScript. Let's dive right in. I mean, really think about it for a second. When you click a like button or you see a little animation pop up or your news feed updates without the whole page having to reload, what's the magic behind all that? It's obviously not just static text and pictures. There's something else going on under the hood. And that something else is JavaScript. You know, if HTML is the skeleton that gives a web page its structure, and CSS is all the style, the skin, the clothes, then JavaScript is the nervous system. It's the brain and the muscles. It's what makes the web do things. All right, so here's our game plan to really wrap our heads around this. We're going to start with where it all began, then we'll look at its basic building blocks, see how it actually makes decisions, connect it to the websites you use every day, and finally, we'll uncover its secret weapon, its asynchronous superpower. So, where on earth did this language come from? I mean, it basically runs our digital world now, but its origin story is, well, it's pretty wild. So at its heart, JavaScript is a programming language that runs directly inside your web browser. Now, this is the key part. The code isn't running on some far-off server. It's executing right there on your computer. And that's what makes everything feel so instant. There's no lag waiting for a server to respond. It just happens. And get this, the first version of JavaScript was created in just 10 days. 10! In 1995, a guy named Brendan Eich threw it together in a mad dash. Soon after, it was standardized to make sure it worked the same everywhere. And while it grew over the years, 2015 was the real game changer. That's when we got ES6, a massive update that totally transformed JavaScript into the powerful language we know today. Okay, history lesson over. Let's pop the hood and look at the fundamental pieces, the actual DNA that make up JavaScript code. The most basic concept you need to know is the variable. And honestly, the best way to think about a variable is just as a labeled box. That's it. You give the box a name, and you stick some information inside it to use later. It could be some text, a number, you name it. Now, in modern JavaScript, we have two main ways we make these boxes. Let is for when the stuff inside the box might change later on. Const is for when you want to put something in the box and make sure it never changes. These replace the old var keyword, which was kind of quirky and could lead to some really weird bugs. So yeah, let and const just make our code a lot safer and more predictable. So what can we put in these boxes? Pretty much anything. Simple stuff like text or numbers, all the way up to more complex things like objects, which are just collections of related data. And what's really flexible about JavaScript is something called dynamic typing. It just means you can have a box holding a number one second and then decide to put some text in it the next. The language doesn't complain. Okay, lean in for this one, because it trips up everyone when they're starting out. When you compare two things in JavaScript, you have two options. Double equals is loose, meaning it tries to be helpful and might change the types before comparing. So to JavaScript, the number 7 is loosely equal to the text 7. Triple equals is strict. It checks the value and the type. Is the number 7 strictly equal to the text 7? Nope. The pro tip? Just pretty much always use triple equals. It'll save you a lot of headaches. All right, so we've got our basic building blocks, our variables and our data. But how do we put them together to actually do something useful? This is where we start bringing the code to life. The real workhorses in JavaScript are functions. Think of a function as just a recipe, a reusable package of instructions that you give a name. Instead of writing the same code over and over again, you just wrap it up in a function, and then you can call that recipe whenever you need it. Super, super efficient. And this is basically how software thinks. It makes decisions using if and else statements. It's like a fork in the road. You ask a question, like, is the user logged in? If the answer is true, you go down one path and show them their dashboard. If it's false, you go down the other path and show them the login screen. This is called control flow, and it's what makes apps feel smart. Okay, this is where it all clicks. No pun intended. We're about to connect all these abstract ideas of variables and functions to the actual websites you browse every single day. So how does our JavaScript code actually see and talk to the web page? It uses something called the DOM, the Document Object Model. You can just imagine the DOM as a live map of all the HTML on the page. And JavaScript can read this map, find any specific element, like a button or a picture, and then change it however it wants. Let's just walk through a really quick story. So you're on a website, you see a like button, and you click it. What's actually happening in that split second? Well, before you even clicked it, our JavaScript code had already attached something called an event listener to that button. It's like we put a tiny pair of ears on the button, and it's listening for one very specific sound, a click. It just sits there, waiting. The second you click, that listener hears it and springs into action. It immediately runs a function that we told it to. And that function uses the DOM to maybe find the light counter, add one to the number, and change the button's color. And it all happens so fast it feels instant. That's the magic of JavaScript in action. So we've covered the fundamentals, but what makes modern web apps feel so snappy and responsive? Well, it comes down to one of JavaScript's most incredible features, its ability to do things asynchronously. Okay, imagine a single lane road. If one car stops, the entire line of traffic behind it is stuck. That's synchronous code. One task has to finish completely before the next one can even start. Now imagine a multi-lane highway. If one car needs to pull over, traffic can just flow around it. That's asynchronous. JavaScript can start a long task, like fetching a big video file, but it doesn't just stop and wait. It keeps the highway moving, letting you scroll and click while that other thing happens in the background. It's why your screen doesn't freeze. Now, back in the day, handling this stuff led to code that looked, well, like this. We call it callback hell. To make sure things happened in the right order, you had to nest functions inside of other functions, creating this ugly pyramid shape that was an absolute nightmare to read and fix if something went wrong. But thank goodness, modern JavaScript gave us a beautiful solution called async/await. Just look at the difference. This lets us write our asynchronous code so it looks like a simple top-to-bottom to-do list. The await keyword just tells the function to pause right there until a task is done without freezing up anything else. It is so much cleaner and has totally changed the game for developers. So when you boil it all down, JavaScript started as this tiny 10-day experiment, and it has exploded into the language of the web, running on pretty much every phone, computer, and screen you can think of. It's the engine that drives the dynamic, interactive digital world we all live in. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build with it?